Hi, I'm Vishwas. I head the thought leadership team here at Aspire Systems, and I have with me Raghu, who heads the marketing team at Aspire. So, this is the first in a series of episodes we're doing on millennial banking. Our topic for today is millennial banking. Can chatbots be the 2 a.m. buddy? So, coming to the first question, Raghu, it's actually quite a $1 million question because banks have never been able to figure out the millennials' mindset. So, what do millennials first of all want from their banks?
Thanks, Vishwas. I think it's not a $1 million question anymore. It's a $1 billion question. I think the key things for bank is to understand the millennial mindset, which I think they are trying to do. If you look at Robert Wallinger's TED Talk, where he talks about what's a good life, he did a survey on millennials, and the result was very interesting in the sense that the millennials wanted to get rich faster. I think banks can take a hint from that and see how they can invest in new technologies to identify millennials' requirement and see what they can do about it. If you look at Aspire, we have more than 1,000 millennials in Aspire. So after observing them, looking at them, their behavior, I think there are some things which I would like to propose to marketers and banks who want to target millennials. If you look at, there was a book called Understanding Media by Marshall McLuhan, and where he had proposed the medium is the message. I think in the post-truth digital era, what we are talking about is that the message is the medium. I think the medium is the message doesn't stand anymore. So I think the key thing for banks is how to get the right message at the right time through any of the medium that's available at this point of time.
Absolutely. I think it's very well put, Raghu. So what you're saying essentially is that the medium doesn't count anymore, but it's the message that is paramount today. That is quite essential.
Yes, I think the onus is on the banks to find out how they can target millennials, what do they want to exactly convey to them. So that becomes very important for them because that's where the next set of customers are going to come from.
Yeah, and if you look at complex conversations, they can extend to any level. So if you look at what millennials are into these days and the acronyms that come about as a result of research which I happen to come across. So they use terms like JOMO, for example, the joy of missing out for something lame, or even sorry but not sorry, to offer a fake apology. So it's pretty intriguing to look at all these different acronyms and how chatbots can actually decipher the millennial code as you can look at it.
I think that also represents the enormous challenge that banks are undergoing these days. They have to invest in complex AI-based technology which can understand millennial behavior patterns. So there's a lot of pressure on them to make sure that they take this initiative and work with partners or make new initiatives in their own bank to understand their future customers.
Yes, very true. And the engagement levels can differ depending from one bank to another. A weather bot can still be forgiven for showing an undefined message, but then a bank cannot afford to do that. It would just be a JOMO moment for a millennial. So looking at the penetration of chatbots among millennials, a survey by BI Intelligence shows that 60% of US millennials have actually used chatbots on a messaging app. So you can see from the graph that millennials have dabbled in chatbots most of the time. But it's quite intriguing to look at how the interesting elements have come together and to build this powerful medium.
That's true, Vishwas. I think according to Peter Wanmaker of Forrester, what he has said is that the next stage of evolution in chatbots, AI, is going to be driven by the fintech firms, not the banks. So it's essential for the banks to work with the fintech guys and see how they can be better positioned to attract the customers which are going to make them grow the next 20 years.
If you look at some of the chatbot use cases in banking today, they don't seem to be engaging millennials with rich, engaging conversations. So we need to look at how popular banks are doing it today in order to engage them. And it's a far cry from the truth. So they are more focusing on the medium rather than the message. I'll just walk you through a few chatbot use cases of today and their origin. So Bank of America has launched Erica that would help customers with real-time updates on their finances using a channel of their preference. RBS has launched Lobo that uses sentiment analysis to help distinguish urgent queries. And then you have Quexa Bank from Spain that uses Watson to answer specific queries in Spanish with large amounts of data catering to international commerce. And you can look at the stats as well. Research from Gartner says by 2020, customers will manage 85% of their relationship with the enterprise without interacting with a human.
Here's a conversation between Eliza and a schizophrenic called Barry. If you look at the conversation, what's happening out there, you see a bunch of non-contextual engagement, and at the end of the engagement, you see Perry getting very frustrated, and the focus, if you see the whole conversation is focusing on trivial issues rather than a big picture. So this is probably not the ideal example for chatbot, but this is a typical example of an experience gone bad. So if you look at where chatbots are now at this point of time, I think it's still in the same stage. Nothing has improved because most of the chatbot usage is more transactional from the examples which you gave, for example, Bank of America or other banks. So it's very transactional, query-based. It's not what is the intuitive or intelligence-based.
So given that fact of it not being intuitive, I think we need to let our audience know of what exactly constitutes this rich message. So in order to do that, what do you think, Raghu, are the key building blocks to facilitate rich conversations with millennials?
After studying a lot of the banks' initiatives on chatbots, what they're trying to achieve, I would like to propose a 3A model of building blocks. When you say 3A's, we are talking about authenticity, accuracy, and agility. So when the bank recommends certain investments, then is it contextual nature? Is it going to achieve my goal? For example, if I have $10,000 in my account, then whatever recommendation the bank says, hey, why don't you put that in a mutual fund? So these kind of interactions, is it relevant for me? Is it going to help me achieve my goal? So that's what we talk about accuracy. Then you talk about agility. When you say agility, you're talking about how fast is the information coming to me. Is it relevant? Is it coming to me at the right time? Can I make the reach at the right time so that I reap the benefits? Mm-hmm. So these are three key building blocks a bank should recognize when they go out and market themselves to the millennials.
That's right, Raghu. So what you're saying is essentially the three building blocks are what constitute rich conversations. So you can actually build powerful messages in order to build powerful mediums in turn. So if you look at it, banks, if they want to champion the bot market, they first need to optimize the components of a rich message and then go ahead dealing with the other technical aspects of the platform. So dealing with this, the first step is to understand advanced sentiment analysis and the ability to bring in that human touch at the right moment. That is actually a key. Because one of the toughest integration challenges that banks face nowadays is the integration between the call center services and the chatbot itself.
I think recently there was an example of Citizens Bank. They had amazing UI, amazing digital experience, but then what it lacked was the contextual engagement, which we talked on many times. So even with good UI, good digital experience, they were not able to make any difference. But then they realized it, and then what they did was they started using chatbots for the contextual engagement challenges, and that kind of reaped benefits. So they were able to grow their loan business by $130 million, which is a lot. So there is definitely a potential for increasing revenue if the chatbots are used the right way. And I think that's what Citizen Bank showed us all.
Thanks for your inputs, Raghu. It was great to have you for this episode. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time in the series of Millennial Banking.